It's Dave Lawrence on location for K-Poi 105.9 The Big Kahuna, Honolulu's only classic rock, and I'm delighted to welcome my guests here. I have Ian Astbury, Ray Manzarek, Robby Krieger of The Doors. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being here with us.
Thank you.
K-Poo?
K-Poi.
Oh, K-Poi.
K-Poi, that's been here forever. K-Poi has been around forever and ever. Ever since we first came here, there was a K-Poi.
In 2 years, we celebrate our 50th anniversary of the call letters.
There you go.
So it started many years ago. So on behalf of my station and my listeners, I welcome you to Honolulu and Hawaii. It's a pleasure to have you guys back here.
A station called K-Poo-Poo?
K-Poo-Poo? There could be. I wouldn't want to be stuck with those call letters, though, if they had them. So you just came from Australia and didn't have a long tour before that. It was sort of a short road outing, four dates down there, and then the shows here, or the show here. How is that was your first ever visit down there, to go down under? We'll go with Robby first.
Well, it was for Ray and I. Ian's been down there a couple times.
Cool.
Yeah, and he kept telling us how great it was, so we finally went.
So you had like a tour guide in the band, sort of.
Right, yeah, he's been everywhere. He's been to South America, and so we finally went down there earlier this year, and we've been going all over the place.
Ray told me about the shows down there, actually, with the dancers on stage and a lot of very special stuff like that. Anything that happened down under, Ray, that you could point out like that?
Yeah, there were people who got on stage, but they were beaten by our manager Tom Vitorino, and were bitten by the Australian fruit bats. They have a fruit bat that's like a vampire bat, and when the people came on stage, we released fruit bats, and they bit them on the neck and the arms and whatnot. It was a hideous thing. It was just, but it was beautiful because we were playing "Light My Fire" and the music was going and going, and the passions, and people were going insane, and the bats were biting, and people were rushing the stage. It's unlike anything I'd ever seen before.
And these venues down there, what sort of venues were these? Indoor, outdoor?
Outdoor. A couple of outdoor concerts, a couple of indoor. There were pop festivals. We played with Blondie and Taj Mahal and Willie Nelson and Purvis Linnell, and Clyde Drexler was there, and I think I can't remember all the groups, but couple of big pop festivals.
Nice. So working with other bands. Now, Ian, how many times before had you been to Australia?
3.
And all for gigs?
Yeah, my girlfriend's Australian as well.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Been down there to visit family and stuff.
You do anything like surfing?
No, I don't surf. I'm English. I'm a land animal.
Well, I'm American and a land animal, too.
We were talking about that just earlier, and it's like English said, I don't go in the water. And English people, I think, ride on top of the water. But when they go in the water, they drown.
How about you? Do you do anything, Robby? In terms of surfing or aqua sports?
Well, I used to be a surfer, but then I started getting the skin cancers, so I had to quit. But I'm definitely going to go out and boogie board out on the North Shore tomorrow.
You are?
Oh yeah.
Oh, good. Robby's a golfer, so he's having a hell of a good time. And I do scuba diving and snorkeling.
Yeah, I remember when we talked on the phone, you said that you and your son Pablo were going to hopefully get into some snorkeling.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. We might, or we'll just go out to do the tourist thing at Hanauma Bay. And, it's a lot of fish out there, and they're all tame. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Now, do you when you come to play a place that's Hawaii is different than most of the tour destinations you may go to because it's a paradise and seen as that for people. Is it distracting to come to an environment like this and do a gig, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because all you want to do is go Pakalolo.
You guys still want to go Pakalolo?
Well, Robby does. I don't mind myself anymore, but.
Nice. Well, that's good to know. Just coughing that up for Robby. Is that the case?
Oh yeah. I have to admit.
Nice. Well, I'm sure the listeners will really dig that. Ian, are you a Pakalolo fan?
I don't even know what it is.
What would they say? What's a slang word in England for pot?
Marijuana.
Oh, I don't know. I don't bother with that. I like the other side of the tracks myself.
So you're not a puffer. Okay, we'll leave that alone.
I like going upstairs and downstairs.
I figured that's what you were indicating when you said that. Say again?
No puff.
No puff?
No puff.
No dreadlocks in my household.
And in terms of you being here in Hawaii, what kind of experience do you have here?
I quite like the nighttime more than the daytime, so Hawaii is a bit strange for me. I'm really here for the gig. The gig's what it's all about for me.
When you mean nighttime, you just mean doing the gig and doing the show.
Yeah, I'm not really a kind of a tropical paradise kind of person. We recorded a Cult album here. I was here for 3 months on Maui, and I basically taped up all the windows in the place I was staying and just didn't want to see any palm trees or the ocean or anything.
Why was the record done here?
Because Bob Rock lives in Maui, yeah. But I mean, it's a beautiful part of the world. I'm really looking forward to the show.
So then when I had Ray on, he described how he was bringing the whole family out here, and they were really going to make an event out of being here in Hawaii. For you, it wouldn't be making a gigantic event out of it.
No, I'm totally an urban creature. I'm happy in big urban sprawls.
I can relate to that. Where's the urban sprawl you call home these days?
I live sort of between Los Angeles and London.
So you go back and forth between the two?
Yeah, I go backwards and forwards.
And which do you prefer?
Both got different merits. I mean, London's great culturally, and Los Angeles is just great in terms of like being able to be independent, free, travel, drive, the beach. We got the ocean, the desert. I got a lot of great friends there, and the weather is really good. I mean, the weather in the UK is awful. It's always raining, but LA's cool. Actually, one of the reasons I went out to LA is because of the Doors. In a lot of ways, the whole mythology of the Doors and the Sunset Strip really drew me to Los Angeles.
And what year was it that you relocated there?
Probably like the early 90s. Yeah.
Wow, and so the mythology of explain to me the connection between wanting to come to LA and Jim Morrison.
Not so much Jim Morrison, the Doors as a group, as an entity, as the body of work, the music, and the sort of the atmosphere that's created by their songs, and I mean, a lot of these images I was listening to in Europe. You kind of try to visualize what they would be like, and then you come out to Los Angeles, you can see like a lot of the right there on the street, a lot of the characters and the environments where the songs were, I guess conceived, and really got a feel for that. Certainly in the 80s, definitely.
When Ray was on the show, he read. Can you give me, Ray, the Warren Zevon, the couple of lines he gave you, which are just stunning about L.A. and like the river running beneath it?
There's a river of madness running through L.A. There's a river of sadness flowing deep beneath the clay. So it's going to be called River of Madness.
And that's the Warren Zevon pen.
Yes, and also there'll be something by Michael McClure.
And how much of a role in terms of the writing has he had on this record that is coming up?
Well, we've got one of the songs called "Eagle in the Whirlpool" is Michael McClure lyric. So that's his too.
And the Warren Zevon, is that really just a couplet, a small amount of lines?
Yeah.
Or
All we've got are two little stanzas, and we have to expand them and flesh them out. But I've got some buddies, poetry buddies in L.A. and up in San Francisco who are working on things that sound like what Warren was talking about. So hopefully we'll have that completed for the new record.
I get it. So it'll be a song that partially was written by him in terms of the lyrics.
Initiated by Warren Zevon, exactly.
And is this stuff that you guys have already begun doing some work on? Like, has Ian gotten a chance to work with those lyrics?
Nobody's gotten a chance to work with those lyrics. It's still in the fresh, brand new stage, and we've got a bunch of stuff to do. But, of course, the other songs, Eagle in the Whirlpool, we've got that. That's almost ready to go into the recording studio.
Do you remember, now that you're here, or before, when you knew you were coming to Hawaii and you were going to be gigging here again, did it bring up any kind of recollection of your previous visits here from '68 and from '70?
Absolutely. How about you?
Of course.
Yeah.
HIC Hall.
Yeah.
So I had Ray on the phone, and he talked a little bit about it. Try to remember, if you can just anything. I'm sure it would matter a great deal to the listeners if there's something you can remember.
Well, I think we did Light My Fire first.
Wow.
Yeah, that was the first.
Wow.
Usually we do that last or pretty close to last.
Wow.
But this time we said, hey, let's play Light My Fire first, and maybe that we'll only have to do one song.
There was something.
I thought it was like those people who would come to hear Light My Fire could then go home.
Right.
And you know what? Everybody stayed. Honolulu, the Hawaiian audience was just the hippest back then. And somebody had given us a little of God's good green grass to roll into little cigarettes. Smoked that before going on stage. That was a big mistake. I shouldn't have done that because I was in knockout land, man. I was going to lie down on the stage and say, listen, this is a great concert. I love what you guys are doing. Let me just lie down here and listen to the rest of it.
And there's a great story. A couple of listeners have called in stories about there was something like a guy with the spotlight, and Jim had trouble with him and started taunting the guy who had the spotlight on him. Or do you remember?
Yeah, that's right. He said to him, "Hey, what's your problem? I'm going to come up there and kick your hole. And then the guy started moving the spotlight around onto other people. Like he would have the spotlight on Robby when I was taking a solo. And I think Jim actually went up into to the spotlight area and told the guy, gave him what for, and told him what to do. And it was a fight almost broke out between Morrison and the spotlight guy. Yeah, I remember that now.
That's a couple of listeners have said almost what you did. What's your archive rather of live performances like? Do you guys personally have your own copies of these shows in your house? Can you describe for me like what format they're in and how you keep them archived?
Well, I've got a bunch of them, but, we have them on CDs now, but, they used to be on DATs, and before that they were on cassettes, and before that they were on 7-inch tape. So you just have to keep putting them on the latest, now they'll be on DVDs. But we have, we recorded a whole bunch of live concerts back in '68, I guess it was, for a live album. And we figured, okay, we'll take one song from this city, one song from this city. And so therefore we have maybe 10 different concerts completely recorded. And we've released a couple of them in total on our Bright Midnight label.
Yeah, I plug the Bright Midnight a lot. I think that's really cool to get to take things that otherwise bootleggers are out there making a profit off of and release it yourself and maybe even add to the packaging.
Right, and then we put a thing together called Boot Your Butt, which is the best of the bootlegs, and it was a 4 CD set. Unfortunately, that's all sold out now, but we're going to re-release them one at a time, I believe.
So for all these years, you've maintained at your house. You started, as you said, you had reels. You always had these in your house. They weren't something that you had to get back from another source?
No, had to get them back. Yeah, definitely had to get them back. I'm not good at keeping stuff like that. Paul Rothschild used to have all that stuff, but he unfortunately went to the other side a couple of years ago. And it was kind of difficult finding, what he had, what his son later, ended up having, Dan Rothschild. And, basically been just getting tapes from people, they send them to you, and, you hope to find the best quality bootlegs that you can.
Yeah, I'm pretty tight with John McDermott, who works for Experience Hendrix and is on their board of directors. And he had told me years ago about helping Danny with the Bright Midnight records in the beginning, actually.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, well, there's a couple of guys that have been very helpful like that.
And that's why I asked if you had to go acquire these tapes back, because John has he's flown all over the world to get Jimi Hendrix stuff, and in some cases has even had to buy it back from the people who owned it to help that. Have you done that sort of thing with Bright Midnight? Have you had to actually pay for it to get them?
Oh, of course, yeah, not all the time, but legally we own the stuff, but. Some guy actually has possession of a tape, then you have to pay him usually.
So, Ian, do you sit with these vintage recordings so close to you and available? Like me as a fan, if I was this close to Robby and Ray, I'd be like getting access to all of those and sitting around digesting them.
One day of the month, Ray and Robby come and sit on a shelf I have in the house next to all my Doors memorabilia. The thing about the Doors and Ray and Robby is that this is a living... I'm not a train spotter, I'm really in the moment. And these guys are warriors, and when I'm in the space, we're friends, and they're my teachers. I look up to these guys and respect them fully. But the whole thing about this experience for me is about the performance. It's about the performance environment. I mean, the records, the archives is wonderful. It's great on the shelf. It's awesome. You can sit back and listen to it and, travel. Your spirit can travel, listen to music. But the live experience that these are living masters playing this music, and when the music is being played, that's when it really has the impact for me. It's like the moment is there, bang, it's gone, and we've had some incredible concerts, and this has been an incredible experience for me. And I think it's given Doors fans a place to go. For 30 years, Doors fans have had nowhere to go. Now they have somewhere to go, and this is what is exciting about this incarnation and this time. Especially now, we have so few patriarchs in the world right now. The music industry is basically that. It's an industry. It's about entertainment, and there's very few guides or signposts, for especially for young men, you know, rite of passage. I mean, it's disaster out there. I think the Doors, Ray and Robby as sort of, you know, patriarchs provide this space for young men and for young women to come and experience the music and the different layers of the music. It's an amazing experience. So I don't really think of it as in terms of like a, you know, archival or the heritage of rock, and you know, it's like it's Mojo magazine, you know, Mojo magazine. Yeah. It's a living tradition, you know. It's very powerful.
Well, especially being you and having your role, I mean, you definitely know it's a living tradition, getting to work with these guys and bringing the music to life every night. When I got the chance just a couple weeks ago to have Ray on the phone, and he was describing your concerts and what it was like, and watching you on stage and how you get out there and there's some sort of place where, I guess as I listen to you talk, I can see how it's a very authentic thing. It's not history that happened in the past. You guys have your own history that you're doing now. Did you realize at the time that you first hooked up with them, which was for the VH1 thing, I guess it was, did you realize that it would turn into this?
No, of course not. Of course not. I had no idea, but I just think it was just a chemical reaction, and we decided, you know, it was just the universe decided that we should continue, and it was just, there's a big hole in the universe and it needs to be filled, and Doors of the 21st Century is the vehicle to fill it with, you know.
So then are you looking forward to putting out the studio record that we were talking about just a moment ago?
I'm looking forward to getting in the room and see what kind of noise we make together. It's going to be interesting to hear it coming back through the speakers.
So far, in terms of like the lyrics, are you going to contribute to the lyrics?
I've got my stuff's kind of like stashed, ready to drop, you know.
Have these guys heard it yet?
So they've heard one thing that I was jamming on the other day, but no, we haven't even tapped into it. I mean, to be honest with you, the track's been working on, especially Eagle and the Whirlpool, has had quite a bit of work done on it. It's a really great piece of music, and it's the lyrical content's very strong. And I think, you know, Ray's concept of incorporating, you know, contemporary American poets is really great. It's a very important thing because the lyric is as important as the music. So it's important, that tradition there. But I've been working on a lot of stuff as well. So.
And when you guys are not on the road, do you get to spend time just going over some of your ideas with the record?
We, you know, based upon our geographical locations, everyone has their own individual, you know, lifestyles and pursuits. I mean, I'm working on my own material as well as working with the Doors of the 21st Century, and Ray and Robby are doing their own things as well. And when we do convene, it's very intense, you know.
I can imagine.
It's great. I mean, honestly, I think the process, the way to do it is to maintain it. It's fresh. You know, if you're doing it every day, you just destroy it, and then you get so used to doing. You know, you get sort of tied down to an arrangement or whatever. So it's like fresh. It's constantly kept fresh, and Ray was alluding to that before. You know.
Yeah. No. Absolutely.
Keeping it fresh on the vine. Yeah.
Fresh on the vine. Well, Ray would have that insight with his current locale and stuff. And you mentioned that about the idea of keeping it fresh and not having things and trying to keep pushing forward. When I saw you before, Robby, it was your solo band. I only saw it a couple times. The station I worked for in Boston at that time, WZLX, presented a show with you, and you were on with our afternoon guy, Chuck Nolan, and then we did this gig. And I wonder, do you still get to go out and do those sorts of things? Is that a way for you of taking the music to a different place?
You know, I haven't really been doing that since Doors got back together, but you know, I would like to do that, and we have talked about it. So
you haven't done any of those shows since this?
Oh, no, Robby Krieger shows since Doors of the 21st Century have gotten back together.
When I think about the Doors, and we talked about this show for weeks as you guys would come to town, I get a lot of calls from young people who have been highly influenced, and very young people who are just 18, old enough to come to the show, and they're very influenced by having seen the Doors film. And that if any question has been asked to me to pass on to you, it would be, and I would sum it up to be, after 15 years later, when you look at that, how do you feel? Do you resent the movie at all, or do you feel good about the movie? And added to that, do you still have a relationship with Oliver Stone?
Totally bitchin'. I think it's totally bitchin'. And Oliver and I actually maintain an unknown. I mean, I can disclose this now, and I really shouldn't, but I'm going to say it. But we have a sexual relationship that
I knew you were going there.
We have been maintaining that for the last 15 years, and I hope to maintain it, you know, for many, many more years to come.
But do you still keep in contact with him?
Sexually, intimately, yes. We have an intimate relationship, yes. Yes.
Fabulous. I'm sure the listeners will really relate to that. Another group of those young listeners who had some interesting angles when they asked me, who are you going to get to talk to in the band? But you're going to get to meet them again besides Ray? And there are a couple of girls who go to Honolulu High School, Jessica and Jill, and they're hardcore fans of my afternoon show. And they're doing a project based on your work right now. And they were asking me questions about how the Doors saw themselves fitting in with protest music and the continuation of that. And they asked about your new record, and do you envision the Doors as continuing to have like a social reaction to things that go on in the world, and that those will come up in your songs, much like The Unknown Soldier and songs like that?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. In fact, I've got one song that talks about everything that's wrong with the world today. I mean, sums everything up. It's called "Who Spoke the Word." Let's face it. The problem today is that different religions see things differently, and who spoke the word means whose God is right, So who is the real God, you know what I mean? And people kill each other over that stupid question.
When in the 60s, and when the first era of the Doors and these songs were getting written, did you realize the social impact that these songs were going to have, that so many generations later that I would have 16-year-old girls who would be asking these really detailed questions about the impact of the music?
Of course. We knew this would happen. No. We didn't, when you write a song, you don't think about something like that. But, of course you hope that your music will have some impact, down the line. But, I think really the point is that our songs were sort of ahead of their time, and that's, I think, why now people are into the Doors. They weren't really that into it in those days. We really weren't that big of a deal at the time, which was too bad because Jim really wanted it to be big. He wanted it to be huge. And if he could have been alive today to see, he would be happy.
Do you think that because he wasn't big, he would have been, if he had been bigger, he'd be alive? Is that what killed him? The fact that he wasn't as famous?
Been dead sooner if he got more famous.
All right, well, I appreciate getting to spend some time with you guys, and I am very much looking forward to your show, and even more than that, perhaps, because it's been alluded to in the press for so long, this new record, and the fact that you had so many noteworthy people contributing to it in terms of the lyrics. I'll be looking forward to that, too. I thank you very much for your time.
All right, thank you, bro. Looking forward to seeing everybody at the Pipeline on Friday night.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Robby, too. It's a thrill to have you on the air with us.
Thank you very much, and be there or be square.
And Ian, I really do appreciate it. It's cool. I got to hang with you a long time ago when you were in the Cult and in Boston at an event we did at WBCN, the radio station I was at. But it's a pleasure to have you here and on KPOY 105.9.
Thank you. Excellent interview, by the way.
Thank you.